A well-known former state representative says his name was hijacked by a local politician intent on tricking voters. In the just completed election, activist Dave Wilson, who is white, won election in a predominantly black trustee district by using campaign literature featuring African American faces. The flyer also claims endorsement by Ron Wilson, leading many voters to believe it meant the former state representative. So, was it strategic marketing, as Dave Wilson claims, or did he commit electoral fraud? That's what we're talking about this half hour, and we want to know what you think. You can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, and we may just use your comments this morning. In our newsroom is Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tritico, public policy analyst Jackie Bally, and Fox 26 news analyst Mustafa Tamiz. All right, you guys, is this doggone good marketing or downright deceptive?
I think it's a little bit of both. The problem is for Mr. Wilson is not whether or not he committed fraud, because he probably can't be removed from office for this. But the issue is how do you lead when you've told your voters you're too stupid to know what I really am? And that's the problem that he has. And I think that he's going to have a real problem. I mean, he said, just give me a year. Well, I don't know who I'll start with. I'll start with you, Jackie. How does he ever lead these people that he lied to and openly and laughs about it?
Yeah, he's making a mockery of the whole political system. First of all, they should have known that he was not black, because I don't know of one black person named David who goes by Dave. That should have been their first clue. But I mean,
I don't know how to respond to that.
It's true. That was nuts. But I mean, I just think it was very deceptive. There are many issues that HCC has. And if he would have ran on those issues instead of trying to trick and be deceptive towards the voters, he beat a 24-year incumbent who actually knew about the educational system. This gentleman has no background. He knows nothing about it. Now he's going to sit there for 6 years.
Well, I don't know that he could have won in that district if the voters had known he was Anglo, but that's really not the issue, is it?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, we have the longest ballot in Harris County in the country. So there's a lot of races that are on there, and these down ballot races, sometimes they're low information races, so people don't really know. So if you take a name that's popular, that's in your local area, and you say you've been endorsed by that person, and you tend to do mail and do a lot more communications than the incumbent did, you get in. The sad part about this is that this was done intentionally. This was done to mislead voters, to mock the system, to mock democracy. And so Dave Wilson shouldn't be proud of himself, and we as voters should not be proud of ourselves for not doing the due diligence. But long term, something has to be done, because HCC is a major entity in our town, and to have someone like this represented on
you help people in elections from time to time. You wouldn't put up with this. I mean, if someone came to you and hired you, you wouldn't take that gig.
No, absolutely not. And I think that the apparatus around Dave Wilson, there are people that Dave Wilson is a perennial candidate, has been running for a long time. And there are people that think this is funny and this is cute, and that they're celebrating this.
And the message that he's actually sending, he is sending the message that he thinks that it's because he's black, or he pretended or alluded to the fact that he may be black. That's how he won. Because his statements have said it's a black district. And I mean, putting Ron Wilson, who is beloved by many in the African American community, a very popular state senator.
And I want to come back to that. I want to go to Dominic. I want to talk about that Ron Wilson thing in a minute, because that was the most deceptive thing he did.
Yeah.
Dominic's monitoring the social media accounts. There anything coming in on that, I'm sure?
Oh, yeah, you better believe it. Lots of people talking about this one on my Facebook page. Ligon Saul says it just proves that politicians are deceptive, and it also proves what happens when people vote based on race. Oronde Cole also says he thinks this guy can't be trusted, and it appears that some folks actually vote based on race. And David Canada, hi David Canada, David says it also proves that some people vote without thinking or researching who they're voting for.
Well, I think all of that is true. I think all of that is true, that there are people who vote just based on race, and there are people, certainly in down ballot races, as Mustafa said, there are people who vote on those without ever knowing what they're voting on. And that's the sad thing about having a big ballot like that. But Jackie, I want to come back to this Ron Wilson thing. Dave Wilson says, I gave notice. I said it was my cousin. But when you've lied about whether or not you're an Anglo or an African American, saying he's my cousin is no notice at all, is it?
No, no, of course not. He knew that. I mean, most of us, when we get those mailers, we're looking at, he had the black people on the picture. He said endorsed by Ron Wilson, who is a very popular state senator. The man created the Human Rights Commission. He's responsible for MLK being a state holiday. He is beloved by many in the African American community. He knew what that message was sending. And then to put a little asterisk on the back, you have to turn it around.
Right.
The font was probably 8 points. No one's going to see that. He knew that.
And Ron Wilson is openly upset about this.
As he should be. I think all of us should be upset by this.
Yeah.
Look, our system is not perfect. You know, our democratic process is not perfect, but it really is the best one in the world. And when someone goes out, intentionally misleads voters, and then mocks the system, right, the rest of us shouldn't stand for it.
I think the scariest thing is having a man without any experience now sitting on that board for 6 years.
So we'll see where that goes. We're going to have to leave it right there. Dominic, we'll be back at the end of the show with a really, really good topic.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much, you guys.